Good afternoon. I just been I'm looking at TV and there's a mass shooting at a church.
The incident that we're going to talk about here today, as I said, was happened at
Here we go.
10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 Campus Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Lake Township officer, where they met the suspect, engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralized that suspect. That suspect is no longer with us, as we said, it was working on the mail. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grand Lake Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here
Just a
is
whole
we have
bunch of madness
investigators.
going
We're
on,
going to do
man.
search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We have the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church and received a lot of information statements. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded. Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Flint Township Police Department,
I hope y'all
Sheriff's
can hear.
Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you that I can, but I want to take any questions that you have that I can possibly answer right now.
Switch to a different phone.
So from what I understand, and again, this is just a preliminary investigation right now for what I have been briefed on, is that he ran the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots. We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from.
Let me see if CBS News gives better audio. Switching over to CBS News.
He rammed the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots. We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from and how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set though by the suspect.
Were they in an active service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible to help set the fire at this point?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this. Sir.
Could you comment on the severity of injuries?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
Three or two, I'm sorry.
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition. We do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
And where the weapon? Yeah.
An assault rifle.
So, as far as ammunition, did he have a lot of ammunition?
That I don't know of yet, and I could get you later.
Hello.
Hey.
Was the suspect known to authorities and he had any connection to anyone who was in that church?
Right now, we don't have any of that information, but I'm confident that our investigators, along with the FBI, we're going to end up uncovering all that information and provide that at a later time for you.
Chief, to clarify, you said there may be additional victims living inside the church.
Yes, where the fire was. So, and the reason why we can't confirm that just yet is because it was a large fire, and we do believe that there was people up there that were near that fire, and they were unable to get out of the church. So we do believe that we will find additional victims once we're able to search that, once there's no signs of a fire reigniting.
So do you believe that the victims that are still there, they succumbed to fire injuries or gunshots, or you're not sure?
That I'm not sure, but I could provide all that information hopefully at 5 p.m.
The shots were fired.
Shots were fired, yes.
And you have no idea how many at this point.
No idea how many at this time. Yeah.
Can you describe the church? Is there like a worship area? Is there like a gathering space or something like that?
That I have not been in, so I can't tell you the layout.
Chief, can you kind of describe the process of how things change for tactical response when there's an active fire? Every training I've seen, it's always been a building that has not been on fire. So how do you kind of deal with an active shooter when you have that situation happening as well?
We are here in Grand Blanc Township, and there's a lot of agencies within the state of Michigan. We are specifically trained to go right to the threat in an active shooter situation. And I'm proud of my guys and the DNR who responded to this scene, who immediately took that suspect out, so there was no additional victims. So that was a great job by our staff. Okay.
So it was a law enforcement officer that neutralized the suspect?
Yes, there was 2 law enforcement officers involved. I will be back here at 5 p.m. to give you additional information and hopefully...
Okay,
answer
5
some
p.m. they're gonna
of the
come back
questions
with
that
an
you guys went over
update.
here today. So, okay. Supervisor Bennett?
Well, Scott Bennett, Grand Blanc Township Supervisor. Scott, S-C-O-T-T, Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T. First, let me say we are heartbroken. This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community, and we are heartbroken that it came to Grand Blanc Township. And we're going to do everything we can to support the families, the victims, and our community getting through this situation. And it's something that no community ever wants to have. And we're going to do our best to do everything we can. We appreciate the outpouring of support from
Be right
our
back,
elected
y'all.
leaders from both national and state and offering their assistance, and we probably will take them up on their offer. So we appreciate that very much, and we appreciate the community reaching out to us also. So the details are yet to come, as Chief Rennie has said, and we'll wait for a little bit later today when we have the rest of the situation assessed. But it may take a little while to do that. But thank you for all the support, and I'm sure that the families and the victims are going to need that. It's a tragedy that nobody wants to encounter. Thank you.
Chief, before you step out, can you go over the process with family members, where you want them to go, who they should call to get more information, or information?
Yeah, so those family members, they are in a secure area right now. They have been taken over to Trillium, so that's where the FBI will interview them and then release them from there. So,
I think in terms of anybody who might be at home who's not there who wants to check in to see if their loved one is okay, is there a number or place that you want to go?
yes, you could call the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, 810-424-2611. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, you were just listening into a news conference. We heard from the police chief, Bill Rennie, and the supervisor there, Scott Bennett, both talking about the heartbreak that community is facing after 10 people were shot, according to the police chief, including one person that has died. The suspect, they said, has also been killed. The fire that they talked about starting at the church is believed to have been from a 40-year-old male from Burton, Michigan. Again, the suspect was killed Police saying there is no threat to the community, but they say that this fire is believed to have been started by that individual who also fired shots inside that Latter-day Saints church this morning. A motive is unclear. The police talked about wanting to get cell phone records to understand what perhaps was the motivation for somebody to go shoot up a church this morning in Michigan there, Grand Blanc, Michigan. Police describing that he rammed his vehicle through the front door, then exited and started firing shots. They said again, one suspect is believed to be involved at this time. They don't believe any other people were involved. You can see community members right there on your screen holding each other, smoke billowing from that church where the fire was started. There were multiple victims that the police chief said are in critical condition. At first, when questioned about it, he said a couple in critical condition, but then said there were multiple victims in critical condition. They did recover an assault rifle. They do not know if the suspect was connected to this church in any way. Officials have been speaking out about this. Again, the supervisor there for Grand Blanc, Scott Bennett, saying, first, we are heartbroken. Said this kind of violence does not happen in our community. Governor Gretchen Whitmer posted a written statement on social media saying, my heart is breaking for the Grand Blanc community. Violence anywhere, especially in a place of worship,
I'm
is
back, y'all.
unacceptable. Quote, I am grateful to the first responders who took action. We will continue to monitor the situation. The police chief, as in many situations like this, acknowledging that they still have a lot of information to comb through, but hoping to have a news conference later this evening at 5 p.m. to hopefully bring the community
I won't try my
and
best to
the,
come back at
media
5.
up to speed on
Alright.
what happened, what was the motivation, and hopefully an update on those victims again, just to recount. We're hearing 10 people
On Sunday
victims of
morning,
gunshots,
bro.
including one person that has died. The suspect has been killed. I want to bring in Anna Schechter. She joins us
did this on
by phone.
Sunday
She's the senior
morning.
coordinating producer for CBS News Crime and Public Safety Unit. Anna, I know you've been listening in to the news conference too. A lot of folks had questions, but as in cases like this, we're only a couple of hours removed from when this happened, so a lot still has to be determined. But what did you make of what the police chief was saying in reference to not knowing if this person was somehow connected to this church?
It's a great point, because that is the big question, is why and motive. So I'm hoping at 5 p.m. we're going to learn more. But the fact that multiple victims, 10 gunshot victims transported to local hospitals, and this is a major event during a day of worship, a morning of worship. So we will probably find out that there was some connection between the suspect and this church, and we're just waiting to learn more details.
A number of officials have spoken out about this already. I don't know if you were listening there when we talked about the Governor Gretchen Whitmer issuing statements. The FBI investigation director, Kash Patel, saying violence in a place of worship is cowardly and a criminal act. Our prayers are with the victims and their families during this terrible tragedy. And then U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi also mentioning that such violence, she says, at a place of worship is heartbreaking and chilling, and asking people to join in with prayers. As far as you can tell, Anna, this is a community back in June, I'm sure you recall, in Wayne, Michigan, that experienced a similar situation, but in that case, one person was shot, the alleged gunman was killed. Talk to us about the impact that something like this has on a community, especially to hear from the supervisor opening up saying, we are heartbroken, this kind of violence doesn't happen in our community.
Well, it's notable that just 3 months ago this happened, as you mentioned, in Wayne. Now, in that particular instance, it was a domestic violence dispute, and we only learned that later, that the suspect was actually targeting a woman, and it was a domestic violence, essentially like the worst case scenario, an awful thing that occurred in a very tight-knit community. So those that trauma is still being experienced by that community. It's about an hour's drive south of where this has just occurred at the Church of Latter-day Saints. So just really tough few months for this area, and really shocking just the way that this played out. A vehicle rammed into a church during church services. More than 100 people were there worshiping. Then opened fire. Just a horrific morning there. And multiple agencies, as you mentioned, ATF is on the scene, the local FBI, Michigan State Police, the local police have been the lead, and we'll see if that changes if the FBI decides to take over. But at this point, it appears that local and state police are leading this investigation.
And according to the website, the church services start at about 10 o'clock. We understand that today, the Worldwide Church of Latter-day Saints was grieving the death of their prophet, Russell M. Nelson. Now, we are not saying this is linked in any way, but here you have people that were mourning a leader in that church who was over 100 years old. Something like this happening, and also worth mentioning, the police chief saying, we believe we will find additional victims as we continue our investigation, because they believe people were not able to quite get out of that church safely because of that fire. So when you hear that the suspect set fire to the church, how does that impact the response to a shooting like this?
It's such a complex situation for law enforcement to address. Not only you had a shooter, but the fire, it's just sort of everything that could possibly be challenging happened in a very short period of time. We heard that a couple of local police officers were able to get there. They neutralized the suspect, but then essentially the entire building was ablaze. So we very well might hear that there are other injuries from smoke inhalation, burns, that sort of thing. We know at this time 10 gunshot victims, but we don't know at this time how many victims might have been impacted by that fire.
Gunshot victims, one person deceased, and possibly others that the police chief says they have not even found yet that could be inside that church. And it is unclear if they died because of gunshot wounds or because of the fire. We will, of course, continue to keep you updated. Anna Schechter, thank you so much for joining us. Stay with CBS News as we continue to follow this developing story. This is a special report. I'm Jerika Duncan here in New York. Thank you.
Wait, are they done? Or are they going to
What
come
happens
back?
when reporters take you inside the story?
I've been asking for over a year and a half for access.
Okay, they may not tell us anything. Let me go to this guy by the name of the Pascal Pascal. I'm not sure what this guy's name is. I think it's Pascal. Now, don't fair use to this brother.
I had to wait 6 months to get my hands on this thing. This is the weighted Highland cow, and this thing was sold out for 6 months. His body is so soft, but it's a different type of soft.
Anything nature I love. That's where I find healing. I love taking care of people.
That suspect is no longer with us as a...
Or you can cool it down with like in the freezer.
It's getting to the point where we're at stage 4. Actually, we are at stage 4. And I'm worried that we might lose our country because of stuff like this.
Sad but true, brother.
No, I'm not trying to fearmonger. This is facts. Let me repeat this again, and thank you to the person that mentioned this fact. This is just facts, not feelings. Just facts.
Talk about it.
We had 3 mass tragedies in less than 24 hours.
Yep.
One in Southport,
North Carolina, Cape Fear.
North Carolina.
And yes, we just
I
had
know the one
shooting
at a
last night in
casino, I don't
Cape
remember
Fear.
exactly where it was, but at a casino. Well, I'll look it up when I get some time. And then now we have one at a church. All innocent lives, either deeply.
I'm gonna pause this for a second. There used to be a time in my life where the church was sacred. Nowadays, people don't give a damn. The reason they don't give a damn because they weren't taught to give a damn. And yes, and pardon my language, I am sick of these mass shootings. I am sick of innocent lives being lost. Bottom line, I'm sick of this shit. I really am. And I apologize for going off the way I am. Sandy Hook was supposed to be our wake-up call. But some of y'all either didn't hear about the wake-up call or just didn't give a damn. Let me go to what this brother was saying.
Traumatized or lost. Multiple people now have been traumatized or lost because these assailants decided to open fire.
Yeah.
Taking their weapons, going into these facilities, or off on the shore, for crying out loud, and opening fire on innocent lives. This is a cancer that has definitely metastasized to a point where I don't know if we can actually cure it now. But here's the problem. Just like some of us stubborn individuals...
I gotta pause it again for a second. We can cure this shit. An assault weapons ban. And that's how we cure this. That's the only way we're gonna be able to cure this. Is with an assault weapons ban. And that's it. And to be honest, I know some of y'all gonna cuss me out. But to be honest, I don't give a shit. I said what I said. Too many damn people getting killed.
Individuals out here, we've been known about this disease. And what's so sad about this disease is that it's extremely contagious. But it only gets certain people. But then it continues to spread.
Facts.
It gets stronger and stronger, and it continues rapidly spreading to the point where no one will be able to go out anywhere anymore. We will basically be in lockdown all over again. But here's the thing though, I do still have hope. I do. I truly think that if we find a way to figure this out now, that maybe we can knock this down. Maybe we can stop this from spreading even more. When you have people every day wondering if they're going to come back home alive from going to an event, it is absolutely insane to me. Wondering if you're going back home alive because you walked into a mother-loving church. I'm just speaking facts, y'all. We ain't even talking about feelings. This is just facts. And you have to sit there and I don't know, kiss your family when you get back home from going to the grocery store. As small as that. These are the things that people need to be starting to have running through their brains now, which is sad because we shouldn't have those things in our brains at all. We shouldn't,
but we do, unfortunately.
Now, should we? No, we shouldn't. But unfortunately, this cancer, this disease that keeps on spreading was something that we should have been handled a long time ago. But because we stubborn, because you know the people that control this country, the people that are elected into our cities, states, and the country are too lazy to sit back. They just sit back and they continue to let this thing continue to spread. And now it's at a point where you also see other people of the likes that are close friends of people dying because they're on a microphone. This is a cancer, and it needs to be treated as soon as possible.
Yeah, it does. Crime's out of
And you know what's so
control.
jacked up about this is I see about 4,000 people watching the show collectively right now. And I appreciate all y'all for being here. But I want to point something out to you guys here really quick. At least one of y'all has either been a victim or knows of somebody that has survived or has been lost due to some sort of weapon problem. Some sort of mass tragedy, at least one of y'all. Do you realize how crazy that is? At least one of y'all has a kid or a friend or yourself that has suffered, survived, saw your friend pass away right in front of you. At least one of y'all. It shouldn't even be happening like that.
It shouldn't.
And if it continues to grow like this, just like what Trump was talking about the autism thing, he's like, a couple of years ago it was only 1 in 3,000 or something like that, and he's like, and now it's 1 in 31 kids are diagnosed with autism. This is insane. Don't touch Tylenol, right? We're gonna get at that place too. That at least 1 in 31 of us is gonna be either one that has been a victim or has been a subject to or has a friend that has survived or been lost due to this gun control problem. It's a cancer, y'all. And now, are we at the point of no return? Something to think about, guys. Like I said, can't even go to a church anymore. Can't even go to a church anymore. Remember just the other day about the wedding reception? That piece of trash walking into a wedding reception, spouting out God knows what, and then just pull the trigger on people. A wedding. Can't even go to a wedding anymore. It's a cancer. And we need to get rid of this cancer as soon as possible. But it's more than just you and me. It's the people that we elected into those specific offices in our local communities, our cities, our states, and our country. They all have to have something to do with this, and they need to do something right now before it gets worse. And God, I hope I'm not the only one who feels this. If y'all feeling me, come on. If y'all are feeling me, put a number 1 in the chat. Like right now, just put a number 1 in the chat. If you feel me, put a number 1 in the chat. Here it is, though. Somebody said, "What do you have? Are you saying you have a solution?" Hell no, I ain't got no solution. All I know is that something needs to be stopped, and I know that there's not a definitive answer to anything. Okay, I know that there's not a be-all, end-all answer to anything. I get it. Okay, I get it. I'm not a pro. I'm not a politician. I don't know all the ins and outs about these things. I'm just a regular civilian, just like you, that is concerned about what's going on in this country. Okay? I got a family. I got people I care for. I got people that I wake up and fight for every single day, just like you guys. All of us are trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Real talk, we are all trying to make money. We are all trying to survive out here. We are all in this crazy rat race, are we not? I can speak factually about how this doesn't stop. Do I have the solution? No. I really do wish I did. But I know for a fact that no matter what that solution is, it's going to upset one side of the party or one corner of the world or one corner of this country. It's not going to please everybody. But there definitely needs to be something done as soon as possible. And no, I'm not sitting here saying we need to take away the Second Amendment. No, I get it. Your gun, your rights. I'm not sitting here saying anything about that. But there needs to be more control over these things. Some of these guys are getting access to these weapons and they're absolutely knucking futs. They lost their doggone marbles. Okay? There's got to be some way to slow these things down. I know you can't squeeze it off, like shutting off the phone. I know it can't be like that, but you can at least squeeze it off, slow it down considerably. There's got to be something here, guys.
Assault weapons ban. That's how you slow it down.
Every day. Now it's every hour, it seems like. That's
too
crazy.
damn much.
And there needs to be a solution. Period. All right, I'm sorry. I'll get off my soapbox. Okay, I know we all have thoughts. We all have things to say about this situation. Of course, this is still developing. Let's get into some more of this news. All right, but again, something's got to give. And this is definitely this is from now on. It's cancer. Our country has cancer. That's it. And we're just not doing anything about it. And we need to do something about it. We really do. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the solution. But I know that there's a problem. So now we got to figure out as a country what the solution is. And that's the thing. We have to figure that out as a country. It can't just be the Republicans saying, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. And the Democrats just sitting there going, it has to be something that they both agree on. These are the moments that both sides of the aisle need to reach across the aisle and join in unison. Because this is an American problem. This is an America problem, okay? This is more than just who you voted for, whether you're wearing a MAGA hat or not. This has everything to do with our entire country and the safety of our children. All right, I'm done. I just get so concerned with these stories, and they just never stop. They just never stop, y'all. Let's take a look. Bobby, thank you so much for feeling my pain. But it is facts, not feelings. Sure, feelings were earlier because I'm angry about this, and I'm angry because I'm tired. And you guys are tired too. So something's got to give. So, heavy police presence. We got some updates I'm going to go through here really quick, okay, guys? Heavy police presence in Smoke Billow near Michigan LDS Church. That's the Latter-day Saints Church, okay? Authorities have responded to the scene. Nearby residents captured video of streets lined with emergency vehicles as smoke billowed in the background. Let's take a look at this. And I got some other video here in a second that's absolutely crazy too, that we're gonna check out. I mean, this is pretty crazy, okay? This is pretty crazy, and you know, and I know that some corner of the world is gonna be like, oh, you know, this is an attack on like they're gonna say like this is an attack on God or religion or Christianity and stuff like that. But here's the thing: there were other people that lost their lives yesterday or earlier today and late last night as well. They didn't happen at a church, right? So I'm hoping that this is not something that gets picked up and turned into some sort of political vehicle. You see what I'm saying? Because there's other guys who lost their lives yesterday at a casino and at a, in Southport, North Carolina, on the shore, for crying out loud, right? Like I said, hopefully it's not, spun, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's continue on. We got a bunch of things we're going to be looking at, okay? So be sure to stick around. We're breaking this whole thing down, okay? So at least one person has lost their life. 9 have been injured. Okay, so my bad. I said 11 people were injured, and then one of those 11 lost their lives. So in other words, 10 were injured, and 1 person lost their life, okay? The police chief has said. So at least 1 person is confirmed gone following the tragedy at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. This is what the chief said at the news conference, which we already talked about. A total of 10 GSW victims, okay, including including some who are in critical condition, have been transported to local hospitals. Authorities believe additional victims will be found at the scene that has been secured. Now, here's the thing. I want to point this out too, okay? They're saying, and I want to remind you guys, because there was a big, massive fire that you just saw, a little bit of that. We're going to be looking at more of the fire here in just a minute. But they're saying, actually, I'm going to pull that up now. You can see it right here, that look how massive that fire is. Look at that. And by the way, that's a big church. That's a very, very big church. But take a look at that really quick. Okay.
There ain't no small church.
Carolera. Thank you. So again, dispatch stated there was a beeping sound coming from suspect's truck, which is crazy. Now, it could be a beeping sound like they thought maybe it was a boom boom, maybe it was a false alarm, right? But if that is true, dispatch was saying that, and Malia heard that too. Basically saying, hey, I heard on dispatch that they said that there's a possible device, if you get what I'm saying, in a vehicle. They didn't mention that in the press conference, so it may have been a false alarm, but anything's possible. I mean, if this guy walked in, opened fire, lit the place on fire as well, started this massive fire, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually had a device that went beep beep. Or, it could have been like the door was ajar and the car was beeping. You know what I'm saying? Because the door was ajar. I don't know. But nonetheless, this is some crazy stuff. Just take a good look at this fire. I'll play the video. But you can see for yourself, it is a massive fire. The roof has collapsed. Major structural damage has been made to that church. 40-year-old man drove his car straight in through the front doors of this church. Opened fire. You can't see it. I know. You're going to be able to go over to my YouTube channel. Okay? Go and check it out. Jelly Lover. Go over to my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see it all over there too. Okay? But this 40-year-old man took his car, drove this car into the front door of this church, opened fire. Whilst he was opening fire, he lit this place on fire. He set fire to the place. Maybe he had a Molotov. I don't know. This is insane, y'all. This is absolutely insane. So I'm going to let that roll a couple times as we get into more information here, okay? Open fire. So lit the place on fire. Then, of course, he took people's lives. After those people lost their lives, all right? After he hit some people with his weapon. Apparently, they're saying that some people may have lost their lives due to the fire. That some people got trapped in there and lost their lives in the fire. So the toll, for lack of a better term, may be more they still need to dig through the entire building to see what's really going on here. But nonetheless, you have somebody, some monster, who decided that today was the day that people were going to have trauma, mayhem, and loss of life. And like I said at the very beginning of the show, or before we went into this press conference, and I know it sounded like gibberish because I realized that they were about to go live with their press conference, but the thing is that there were people there for the first time.
Mm.
You know how church is, If there are any first-timers in the room, please raise your hand, and then they'll raise their hand and be like, oh, thank you so much for being here. Congregation, please welcome these new, these new patrons that are a part of the service today. Please welcome them with open arms, that kind of thing. Like I said, there are people that walked in there for the very first time. Maybe they were walking in there for the very first time just to give God a chance, just to give faith a chance.
Yeah.
Real talk. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm being real. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And those people may have been hit too, or may have been so terrified they may never go back to church ever again because of this. It's terrible. It's terrible. Okay? So again, oh my God, it just doesn't stop. We're gonna look at more. We got more stuff, but like I said, guys, if you want to see what we're seeing, okay, on the screen, go over to my YouTube channel. One day you'll be able to see it all here too. I promise you. I'm still trying to figure that out. I just got my TikTok back like literally last week, right? So again, we'll be more soon. We'll be doing stuff, and the same stuff you see on my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see here. But that's some baby steps, okay? All right. So again, we don't know why this person did what they did. Of course, I'm still waiting to see if there's any updates as far as like the name of the assailant or anything of that sort. I'm just I'm just refreshing here really quick just to see. Wait a second.
What's going on? Hold on. What's going on?
I mean, it seems like, I don't know. Okay, so apparently there's a photo circulating, and let me just say this again. We're going to take this with a grain of salt, okay? Because you know how it is. People put out stuff for the sake of putting things out that aren't true, okay? To create a narrative before we even get everything, you know what I mean? Before we get all the information, people like to come out with some sort of narrative as quickly as possible, right? To go with one side or the other. And people are already doing that. People are already trying to divide the situation. They're already saying, oh, this guy, he ain't conservative. This is a muse. This is one big red herring.
Okay, I'm gonna cut off there. Anyways, they're supposed to be coming back at 5. And I agree with everything that Pascal said. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream with this here. Shout out to Childish Gambino. This is the instrumental version of This Is America.
We've got great news. Your nearest Dollar General just got some upgrades.
I was gonna play the whole song, but I decided not to play the whole song. But y'all get the gist of it. We got too much taking people out. It, it's just too damn much, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll see y'all at 5 o'clock. Peace.